Do-hyun walked through the crystal corridors of the space station called Eternal Peace. His black diplomatic uniform felt heavier today than usual. For 15 years he had represented Earth in these halls. For 15 years he had watched the same patterns repeat over and over again. The emergency alarm echoed through the station. Another crisis. Another war about to start. Another time when all eyes would turn to humanity for answers. The council chamber opened before him like a giant flower made of light. Hundreds of alien species sat in their floating pods, speaking in voices that the translation machines turned into words he could understand. The air smelled like ozone and fear. Do-hyun took his seat in the human section. Around him, representatives from 12 other human colonies did the same. They were tired. All of them looked tired. "The situation grows worse by the hour," announced Vorthak, the council leader. His blue skin rippled with concern. The Krex Empire masses ships near Andorra's Prime. The Vel Consortium refuses to back down from their mining claims. War seems certain. Do-hyun had heard this speech 1,000 times before. Different names, different planets, but always the same ending. Always the same solution expected from humanity. "We call upon our human allies to restore peace," Vorthak continued. "Deploy your peacekeeping fleets. Send your negotiators. Make the necessary sacrifices for galactic harmony." The word sacrifices stuck in Do-hyun's mind like a thorn. 300 years of human sacrifices. 300 years of human ships destroyed. Human lives lost, human resources spent to keep aliens from killing each other. Ambassador Rey Na from the Krex Empire stood up. Her red armor gleamed under the chamber lights. "The Vel scum steal what belongs to us by right of conquest. We demand human intervention to enforce proper law." From across the chamber, Vel Consortium Speaker Zilthar's tentacles writhed in anger. "The Krex know only violence. They destroy what they cannot understand. Humanity must stop them before they ruin everything." Both sides stared at the human section. Waiting, expecting, demanding. Do-hyun felt something cold settle in his stomach. This was not just another crisis call. Something was different in their voices. Something uglier. Vorthak's next words confirmed his fears. "The Council has reached a decision. To ensure lasting peace in the Andorra sector, humanity will surrender colonies Beta 7 and Gamma 12 as neutral zones. Furthermore, you will transfer your peacekeeping technology to Council control. This will prevent future conflicts." Silence fell over the chamber like a heavy blanket. Do-hyun blinked slowly, certain he had misheard. Around him, the other human representatives sat frozen in shock. "You want us to give up our colonies?" asked Ambassador Soo-jin from New Seoul Colony, her voice barely above a whisper. "For the greater good," Vorthak replied without concern. "Humans exist to serve galactic harmony. Your colonies are strategically placed to prevent conflict. Your technology is too powerful for any one species to control." Do-hyun watched the alien faces around the chamber. Not one showed sympathy or concern for humanity. They nodded agreement with Vorthak's words. Some looked impatient, as if annoyed that humans might object. "What about the humans living on those colonies?" Do-hyun asked quietly. "They can relocate," Vorthak waved a dismissive hand. "Humans adapt well. It is your nature. And if we refuse?" The chamber erupted in angry chittering, growling, and electronic buzzing. The translation machines could barely keep up. "Refuse?" Reyna's armor plates rattled. "Humans do not refuse the Council. You are servants of peace," added another voice from somewhere in the crowd. "Servants do not refuse their masters." Do-hyun felt something break inside his chest. Not pain exactly, but something deeper. Something final. He stood up slowly, his movements careful and controlled. The chamber fell quiet again. "The Human Federation will consider your proposal," he said in the calm voice that had solved 1,000 diplomatic crises. "We will send our answer within 1 standard week." Vorthak looked pleased. "Good. We expect full compliance." As Do-hyun walked out of the chamber, he heard the aliens already planning how to divide up human resources and technology. They discussed human colonies like empty real estate. They talked about human lives like numbers in a computer. The crystal corridors seemed darker on his walk back to the human embassy. Or maybe that was just his mood. Ambassador Soo-jin caught up with him near the docking bay. "Do-hyun, what are we going to do?" "They cannot be serious." "Oh, they are completely serious," Do-hyun replied. "That is the problem." His communication device beeped with an incoming message from Earth. President Ji-woo's face appeared on the small screen, her expression grim. "I saw the council broadcast," she said without greeting. "Is it as bad as it looked?" "Worse," Do-hyun replied. "They want Beta 7 and Gamma 12. They want our peacekeeping technology. And they think we will simply hand it over because they asked." Ji-woo's eyes hardened. 300 years, Do-hyun. 300 years we have bled for them, lost our people for them, gave up our resources for them. And this is how they repay us. "What are your orders, Madam President?" "Come home," she said simply. "All of you. Come home immediately. And the council's demands?" Ji-woo smiled, but it was not a happy expression. "Tell them we are considering their proposal very carefully. Tell them our answer will come soon." The transmission ended. Do-hyun looked out at the stars through the embassy windows. Somewhere out there, Krex and Vel fleets were moving toward each other, ready to fight over rocks and metal. Somewhere out there, other conflicts were brewing, other crises building. For 3 centuries, humanity had rushed to fix every problem, heal every wound, stop every war. They had become the galaxy's police force, its diplomatic corps, its emergency response team all rolled into one. But no one had ever said thank you. No one had ever asked what humanity wanted. No one had ever cared about human needs or human dreams. Today, that changed. Do-hyun began composing messages to every human embassy in the galaxy. The same message to each one, 3 words that would change everything. Come home immediately. Within hours, human diplomats across the galaxy received their orders. Within days, they would begin the greatest withdrawal in galactic history. The age of human service was ending. The age of human independence was about to begin. 3 months had passed since the council meeting, and the galaxy was starting to notice strange things happening. On Trading Station Omega 5, Vel merchant Krix waited for the human cargo ship that came every Tuesday. Tuesday came and went. No ship arrived. On the war-torn planet Keltor, Krex General Vash looked up at empty skies. The human peacekeeping fleet that had patrolled this system for 60 years was gone. Just gone, as if it had never existed. In the Andorras sector, Admiral Kyung-soo stood on the bridge of the battleship New Seoul, watching his fleet prepare to leave. Around him, officers worked quietly at their stations. Everyone knew what this meant. "Sir," called Lieutenant Jamin from the communication station, "both Krex and Vel fleets are demanding we intervene. They say the situation is getting dangerous." Kyung-soo looked at the tactical display. Red dots and blue dots moved toward each other like angry insects. In 2 days, maybe less, they would meet and start shooting. In the old days, his fleet would jump between them, forcing both sides to negotiate. Not today. "Open a channel to both fleets," Kyung-soo ordered. The main screen split in half. On one side appeared Krex Admiral Tex-4, his battle armor scarred from 100 fights. On the other side, Vel Fleet Commander Zilnor floated in her water tank, tentacles moving in agitation. "Human Admiral," Tex-4 growled. "The Vel prepare for attack. You must stop them before they commit acts of war." "Human Admiral," Zilnor's translator made her voice sound musical. "The Krex gather weapons of destruction. You must act before they destroy everything precious." Kyung-soo listened to their demands with the same expression he might use to watch paint dry. Behind him, his bridge crew waited in perfect silence. "This is Admiral Kyung-soo of the Human Federation Navy," he said finally. "As of today, the conflict in the Andorras sector is no longer humanity's concern. We are returning to human space. Good luck." He cut the transmission before either alien could respond. "All ships," he announced over the fleet channel, "jump to coordinates Delta 77. We are going home." The human fleet vanished in flashes of blue light, leaving the 2 alien forces alone with their anger and confusion. Back on Space Station New Harmony, Counselor Wan Jin sat in his office reading reports that made his head hurt. He was the only human left in the Galactic Council now, and every day brought worse news. The Altair system had gone dark after human technicians abandoned the communication relays. The Centauri trade route collapsed when human cargo ships stopped running supplies. 6 different wars had started in places where human peacekeepers used to patrol. "Sir," his aide announced, "your wife is calling from Earth." So Young's face appeared on his screen, looking exhausted. Behind her, Wan Jin could see crowds of humans carrying luggage and children. "How many today?" he asked quietly. 40,000, she replied. 40,000 humans evacuated from alien territories in the last week alone. The processing centers are overflowing. One Jin had seen the evacuation footage, human families loading everything they owned onto ships, leaving homes they had built on alien worlds. Some had lived their entire lives outside human space. Now they were refugees in their own territory. Some aliens are trying to come with them, So Young continued, begging for protection. The border guards are turning them away, but it breaks their hearts. Orders are orders, One Jin said, though he felt sick saying it. I know, but some of these aliens helped humans for decades. They do not deserve what is happening to their worlds. One Jin looked out his office window at the Galactic Council chamber. Inside, alien representatives screamed at each other in 12 different languages. Without human translators, they could barely communicate. Without human mediators, every small disagreement became a big fight. The Krex and Vel started shooting at each other yesterday, he told his wife. Full battle. 300 ships destroyed in the first hour. So Young closed her eyes. Any survivors? Some. But no one knows how to organize rescue operations without human coordination. The ships just float there, sending distress calls no one answers. It had been the same story across the galaxy. Aliens had become so dependent on human help that they forgot how to help themselves. When humans stopped answering their calls, everything fell apart. The Council sent another message to Earth today, Wan Jin continued. They are offering to make humans full partners instead of servants. Equal votes for all human colonies. What did President Jiwoo say? Wan Jin almost smiled. She said they had their chance to offer partnership 300 years ago. Now it is too late. The irony was not lost on him. For centuries, humans had begged for equal treatment. They had asked for recognition, respect, and fair representation. The aliens had refused every request. Now when the galaxy was burning and the aliens desperately needed human help, they suddenly wanted to share power. But humanity was no longer interested in sharing anything. Captain Minho stood on the observation deck of his stealth ship Silent Watcher, hidden in the asteroid belt around Proxima Station. He watched through powerful telescopes as 3 alien species fought over the orbital facilities that humans had built and maintained for 80 years. Without human engineers to keep the station running, it was already breaking down. Lights flickered and went out. Air recycling systems failed. Gravity generators shut down randomly. Captain, his sensor officer called. The Helix Nebula colonies are requesting immediate assistance. Complete systems failure across 4 planets. Minho remembered those colonies. Beautiful worlds that humans had helped terraform. Cities that human architects had designed. Parks where human children had played with alien friends. Are there any humans still there? He asked. Negative, sir. All humans evacuated last month. Then it is not our problem anymore. The words felt strange in his mouth. For his entire career, human problems and alien problems had been the same thing. Human ships rushed wherever help was needed. Human doctors treated alien diseases. Human engineers fixed alien technology. Now aliens were learning a hard truth. They had never bothered to learn how to maintain the things humans built for them. They had never trained their own people to do the jobs that humans did. They had assumed humans would always be there to solve every problem. They had assumed wrong. On Earth, President Jiwoo walked through the halls of the global government building, reading the daily reports. The news was all the same. Aliens begging for help. Aliens offering bribes. Aliens making threats they could not back up. Some alien leaders had sent messages promising humans anything they wanted. Entire star systems. Exclusive trade rights, even positions as ruling council members. Others had tried threats saying they would force humans to return to their old duties. The threats were especially amusing. Several alien fleets had approached human space over the past month, demanding that humans resume their peacekeeping duties. Those fleets had encountered humanity's new defense systems and learned that humans had been holding back their true military power for centuries. The brief Battle of Luna had lasted exactly 7 minutes. After that, no more alien fleets approached human territory with hostile intentions. Jiwoo reached her office and sat down at her desk. On the wall, a map showed the galaxy in real time. Red zones marked areas of active conflict. Yellow zones showed regions with critical system failures. Green zones indicated stable areas. 3 months ago, the entire galaxy had been green, maintained by human effort and sacrifice. Now, less than 30% remained stable. The rest burned in wars or collapsed from neglect. And for the first time in 300 years, every human territory glowed a peaceful blue. 6 months after the Great Withdrawal began, Chief Analyst Hyejin stood before the Human Council on Earth. presenting data that would have seemed impossible a year ago. Her holographic displays painted a picture of galactic civilization in free fall. 847 active conflicts across known space, she reported in her calm, professional voice. Complete communication breakdown in 12 sectors. Trade route failures affecting 63 systems. Estimated 22 billion aliens directly impacted by infrastructure collapse. President Ji-woo studied the numbers without emotion. Around the council table, other human leaders did the same. Defense Secretary Taemin raised his hand. What about the major powers? Surely the Krex Empire and Vel Consortium have adapted by now. Heejin touched her control pad, and the display changed to show the former Krex territory. What had once been a unified red mass was now broken into dozens of smaller pieces. The Krex Empire split apart 5 weeks ago. Without human logistics coordination, their military could not maintain supply lines across multiple sectors. Local commanders began fighting each other for resources. We count at least 30 separate Krex factions now, many at war with former allies. The display shifted to show Vel space, which looked even worse. The Vel Consortium lasted longer due to their trade-based structure, but collapsed 3 weeks ago when their central banking system failed. Apparently, human economists had been managing their financial networks for over 2 centuries. When we left, they discovered none of their own people understood how their own economy worked. President Ji-woo leaned back in her chair. How is that possible? They are supposed to be a merchant civilization. They were excellent at buying and selling, Heejin explained. But the complex mathematics of interstellar economics, currency exchange rates, and resource allocation modeling were handled entirely by human consultants. When those consultants evacuated, the entire system crashed within days. Minister of Science Yoo-jin looked up from her tablet. What about the species that claimed to be more advanced than us? The Eternal Minds? The Crystal Collective? The display changed again, showing sectors that had gone completely dark. The Eternal Minds uploaded their consciousness into computer networks that humans designed and maintained. When our technicians left, their quantum processors began failing. We estimate their entire civilization died of hardware failure within a month. The room fell silent. Even knowing that humanity was no longer responsible for alien problems, the scale of the collapse was shocking. The Crystal Collective managed better, Heejin continued. They withdrew into their home system and seemed to be stable, though they refuse all communication. We believe they are trying to rebuild their infrastructure without outside help. On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Minho guided his reconnaissance ship through the debris field that had once been the thriving Helix Nebula colonies. Chunks of metal and plastic drifted past his view screen, the remains of cities that had housed millions of aliens. Sir, his tactical officer reported, we are detecting life signs on the 3rd planet. Primitive settlements, maybe a few thousand survivors. Minho remembered this system from his academy days. He had done his first diplomatic mission here, helping negotiate a trade dispute between 3 different species. The orbital cities had been marvels of engineering, their gardens visible from space. Any distress calls? He asked. Negative, sir. They seem to have given up on outside help. Minho understood why. For months, alien civilizations had broadcast increasingly desperate pleas across the galaxy. Help us fix our power grids. Help us coordinate our food distribution. Help us stop the wars. Help us survive. The humans heard every message. They recorded every plea, and they filed every request under Not Our Problem. On Earth's largest moon base, Commander Sung-ho briefed his rescue teams before their final extraction mission. His ships had spent months evacuating human civilians from collapsing alien territories, and this was the last group. The situation on Kepler-7 is critical, he told his officers. The local government collapsed last week, fighting in the streets, infrastructure failing, but there are still 300 humans trapped in the embassy district. Lieutenant Bora checked her gear. What about the aliens? The friendly ones who helped our people? Sung-ho's expression hardened. Orders are clear. Humans only. The borders are sealed. It was the hardest part of the withdrawal. Many aliens had been genuine friends to humanity. They had shared meals, worked together, even married human partners. But Earth's government had decided that any exception would be seen as weakness, any mercy as an invitation for more demands. The rescue ships launched through the lunar shipyard's massive doors, heading for their final mission in alien space. Back on Kepler-7, the human embassy had become a fortress. Ambassador Chinsu watched from the roof as aliens fought each other in the streets below. Some fought for food. Some fought for fuel. Some seemed to fight just because fighting was all they remembered how to do. "Sir," his aide called, "Commander Sung-ho is requesting permission to land." "Granted, and tell all humans to be ready to leave immediately. We will not get a second chance." As the rescue ships descended through the smoky atmosphere, Chinsu felt a mixture of relief and guilt. Relief that his people would survive. Guilt that he was abandoning aliens who had trusted humanity for generations. But those feelings were a luxury he could not afford. The age of human guilt over alien problems was ending. On Earth, Dr. Yujin published her research on what she called dependency syndrome, the psychological condition that had affected entire alien civilizations. Her paper would become required reading at every human university. "When one group consistently solves another group's problems," she wrote, "the second group loses the ability to solve problems independently. This is not just laziness or incompetence. It is actual neurological change. The brain pathways for problem solving literally atrophy from disuse." Her research explained why even the most intelligent alien species could not adapt quickly to human withdrawal. They had not just become dependent on human help, they had become incapable of functioning without it. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not just been serving the galaxy, they had been disabling it. Every time humans fixed an alien problem, they made aliens a little less capable of fixing their own problems. "We thought we were being helpful," Yujin concluded in her paper. "In reality, we were creating galactic civilization of permanent children who could not take care of themselves." President Jiwoo read the paper in her office late one night. While outside her windows, the lights of human cities gleamed like stars. Those cities were growing larger every day, filled with humans returning from alien space and humans born free of the obligation to serve others. For the first time in 3 centuries, human resources were being spent on human needs. Human technology was being developed for human benefit. Human lives were being lived for human purposes. The guilt that some humans felt about the galactic collapse was fading, replaced by something stronger. Pride. Pride in choosing their own path. Pride in refusing to be taken for granted. Pride in finally putting humanity first. The galaxy had taught humanity a valuable lesson, though not the one it intended. It had taught them that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is walk away, even if the other party dies from your absence. 1 year after the Great Withdrawal, former Ambassador Do Hyun received an unexpected visitor at his home on Earth. He was tending his garden when his security system announced an incoming shuttle with diplomatic clearance. The shuttle was old and battered, its hull scarred by weapons fire. When the airlock opened, Do Hyun was shocked to see Zilthar, the former Vel Consortium speaker. The proud alien who had once commanded fleets of merchant vessels now looked broken and desperate. "My old friend," Zilthar's translator made his voice sound tired, "I come seeking audience." Do Hyun set down his gardening tools and walked to meet his former colleague. They had worked together for decades, solving trade disputes and preventing wars. In the old days, Zilthar had been wealthy beyond measure, his tentacles always adorned with precious metals. Now those same tentacles hung limp and unadorned. "You may enter," Do Hyun said quietly. They sat in Do Hyun's living room, looking out at the peaceful Earth landscape. For several minutes, neither spoke. "The consortium is gone," Zilthar said finally. "My people scatter across the galaxy like seeds on the wind. Some work as laborers for species that once begged for our goods. Others have simply given up." Do Hyun poured tea for both of them, a ritual they had shared in better times. "I have come to ask, no, to beg, for humanity's return. Not as servants this time, as partners." "Equal partners?" Do Hyun sipped his tea slowly, studying his old friend's face. "What has changed, Zilthar?" "Everything has changed. The galaxy burns, billions die, ancient civilizations crumble to dust. But what has changed about how you see humanity?" Zilthar's tentacles writhed in confusion. "I do not understand the question. A year ago, you and your people saw humans as useful tools. You called us servants. You expected us to sacrifice our colonies and our technology for your benefit. What has changed besides your circumstances?" The alien was quiet for a long time. We did not realize how much we depended on you." "That is not what I asked," Do Hyun said gently. I asked what changed about how you see us as people. Do you respect us now? Do you value our dreams and goals? Or do you simply need us? Zilthar could not answer, and his silence was answer enough. You do not want partners, Do-hyun continued. You want your problem solvers back. You want the humans who will fix everything while you continue as before, but those humans no longer exist. At Terra Defense Command, General Dong-woo watched the tactical display as another alien fleet approached human space. This was the 5th attempt this month, and like the others, it would end badly for the aliens. Sir, his aide reported, the Dominion Alliance fleet is demanding we resume peacekeeping operations in their territory. They say they will use force if we refuse. Dong-woo almost smiled. The Dominion Alliance was a group of minor alien powers who had united out of desperation. Their combined fleet looked impressive on sensors. Nearly 200 ships. Activate the border defense grid, he ordered. In space around the human frontier, thousands of small devices awakened. They had been hidden in asteroid fields and gas clouds for months, invisible until activated. Each device was no larger than a football, but they were packed with antimatter warheads and quantum targeting systems. The Dominion fleet detected them too late. The battle lasted less than 3 minutes. When it was over, the space around human territory was filled with glowing debris and radiation signatures. Not one alien ship survived. Send a message to any other fleets approaching our borders, Dong-woo ordered. Humanity is not hiding. We are choosing isolation. Anyone who tries to force us back into galactic service will share the same fate. The message spread quickly through alien communication networks, along with recordings of the brief battle. After that, no more fleets approached human space with hostile intentions. On the agricultural world of New Seoul, Yoon Seo walked through vast automated farms that stretched to the horizon. The crops here used to feed 3 entire sectors of alien space. Now they fed only humans. Her daughter Nari ran between the grain stalks, laughing as flying robots harvested around her. The child had been born after the withdrawal and knew nothing of the old days when humans sacrificed their own needs for alien gratitude that never came. Mama, Nari asked, why do the food shipments only go to human worlds now? Yunseo knelt down to her daughter's level. Because we learned that taking care of our own family comes first. When someone needs help, you can choose to help them. But you never have to sacrifice your own children's food to feed someone else's children. It was a lesson the old galaxy had never understood. They had expected human parents to watch their own children go hungry, while human food ships rushed to feed alien populations. They had expected human families to live in poverty, while human resources were spent on alien infrastructure. Never again. In the orbital shipyards above Mars, engineer Jae-won worked on humanity's newest project. The ships being built here were unlike anything humans had constructed before. They were not cargo haulers or peacekeeping vessels or diplomatic transports. They were exploration ships, designed to carry humans beyond the galaxy's edge to places no alien had ever seen. Sir, his assistant called, the Andromeda-class prototype is ready for testing. Jae-won looked up from his work to see the magnificent vessel through the shipyard's transparent walls. It was sleek and beautiful, built not for war or service to others but for discovery and human expansion. Schedule the test flight for tomorrow, he said. It is time to see how far we can go. The ship represented everything humanity had become since the withdrawal. Independent, self-reliant, looking forward instead of constantly cleaning up alien messes on Earth. President Ji-woo met with her cabinet to discuss the latest reports from the collapsed galaxy. The news was uniformly bad, but it no longer caused the panic it once had. The Kepler sector has gone completely dark, Defense Secretary Taemin reported. No communication for 6 weeks. We estimate total civilizational collapse. The Vega Trade Network is requesting humanitarian aid, added Foreign Minister Sumin. They offer to pay in rare metals and technology. Ji-woo considered the offer for exactly 3 seconds. Declined. We are not in the humanitarian aid business anymore. Some of her advisors still struggled with decisions like this. They had been raised in an era when human duty to the galaxy was unquestionable. But Ji-woo had no such doubts. Madam President, Interior Minister Kyung-ho spoke carefully. There are still some humans who believe we should help. They say we have a moral obligation. To whom? Ji-woo asked. To aliens who treated us as slaves for 3 centuries? To civilizations that expected us to sacrifice our own people for their benefit? To species who are now learning that actions have consequences, she stood and walked to the window overlooking New Geneva. The city sparkled with prosperity, its towers reaching toward the stars. We tried moral obligations for 300 years. We gave everything we had and received nothing but demands for more. Now we choose a different morality. We choose to be moral to ourselves first. It was the new philosophy of human civilization, and it was spreading throughout human space. Children learned it in school. Adults discussed it in workplaces. Families lived it in their daily choices. Put humanity first. Help others if you choose, but never at the cost of human welfare. Never again accept being taken for granted. The galaxy had taught humanity this lesson through centuries of exploitation and ingratitude. Now humanity was putting that lesson into practice, and for the first time in generations, human children grew up believing their lives mattered as much as anyone else's. 5 years after the Great Withdrawal, Captain Sang-min stood on the bridge of the deep space exploration vessel Pioneer's Dream, watching a virgin star system appear on his screens. The system was beyond the galaxy's edge, in the dark space between Milky Way and Andromeda. "Scanning complete, sir," reported Lieutenant Young-ho. 12 planets, 3 in the habitable zone. No signs of intelligent life. Rich mineral deposits on all the rocky worlds. Sang-min nodded with satisfaction. This was the 47th system his ship had surveyed in the past year. All of them empty of alien life. All of them ready for human settlement. His crew was young, most born after the withdrawal. They had grown up in a galaxy where humans looked forward instead of backward, where human ships explored new frontiers instead of rushing to solve alien problems. "Mark this system for colonization priority," he ordered. "The geology team will love those mineral readings." Behind them, dozens of similar human exploration fleets spread across the cosmic dark, mapping new territories that would belong to humanity alone. No aliens to manage, no crises to solve, no obligations except to their own species. On Earth, President Ji-woo walked slowly through New Geneva's Central Park. She was older now, her hair silver with age, but her eyes still held the determination that had led humanity away from galactic servitude. Children played around her, their laughter echoing off the city towers. These children learned history very differently from previous generations. They learned about the old days when humans had sacrificed everything for alien gratitude that never came, but they learned it as a cautionary tale, not as something noble. Never again had become humanity's unofficial motto. Her aide Nari approached with the daily reports. "The Galactic Council sent another message," she said quietly. Ji-woo smiled. "Still begging for our return? They are offering complete autonomy for all human territories, plus voting control over council decisions. They say humanity can basically run the galaxy however we want. And our response? The same as always. No response. The old Galactic Council still existed, governing exactly 3 star systems and about 2 billion surviving aliens. They met every week in their crystal chambers, passing resolutions that no one enforced and making laws that no one followed. Every month, they sent increasingly desperate messages to human space. "Please come back. We will give you anything. We will be your servants instead. Just save us from ourselves." The messages were filed away unread. Counselor Wan Jin had remained as Earth's observer to the galaxy, though his role had become purely ceremonial. He sent weekly reports that no one on Earth bothered to read. His duty was now just to watch the final collapse of galactic civilization and record it for history. The collapse was nearly complete. Of the thousands of species that had once filled the galaxy with cities and trade routes, fewer than 100 remained functional. Most had reverted to primitive conditions on their homeworlds. Others had simply gone extinct, unable to maintain the technology that kept their civilizations alive. A few species had adapted successfully. The insectoid hive queens had never depended on human help, so they survived the withdrawal without problems. They occasionally sent polite diplomatic messages to human space, which were politely acknowledged but not pursued. The crystalline builders had retreated to their home system and rebuilt their entire civilization from scratch. They now sent occasional scientific papers to human universities, sharing research in exchange for mathematical theorems. It was the only ongoing relationship between humans and aliens. Most aliens were not so fortunate. Du Hyun, now serving as Earth's Minister of Colonial Affairs, stood in his office overlooking the construction of humanity's newest achievement, city ships. These massive vessels were designed to carry entire human populations to distant galaxies, spreading Earth's children to places where no alien had ever set foot. The ships were beautiful, their hulls gleaming with quantum drives and their interiors designed like floating cities. Each one could transport 50,000 humans and everything they needed to build new worlds. His assistant, Nari, brought him the latest communication from the Galactic Council. Like all the others, it was a desperate plea for human intervention in some crisis. "Should I file it with the others?" she asked. Do-hyun did not even look at the message. "Yes, and authorize the launch of 3 more exploration fleets toward the Magellanic Clouds. It is time to expand beyond this galaxy entirely." Nari paused. "Sir, some of the older generations still feel guilty about what happened to the aliens. They say we could have helped more during the collapse." Do-hyun considered this. It was true that some humans, especially those who had lived through the old era, struggled with guilt over the galactic disaster. They remembered alien friends and colleagues who had died in the chaos following the withdrawal. "Guilt is a luxury we cannot afford," he said finally. "For 3 centuries we helped at the cost of our own development. We sacrificed human dreams for alien gratitude that never came. We became so focused on serving others that we forgot to serve ourselves." He gestured toward the window, where the city ships grew larger every day. "Look what we have accomplished in just 5 years of focusing on human needs. Look how far we have come when we stopped trying to fix everyone else's problems. This is what humanity can achieve when we put ourselves first." It was the lesson that every human child now learned in school. Helping others is good, but not at the cost of destroying yourself. Being kind is important, but not if it means being taken advantage of. Service to others is noble, but only when it is chosen freely, not demanded as obligation. In the deep space training facility orbiting Neptune, thousands of young humans prepared for the greatest adventure in human history, the colonization of other galaxies. They studied xenobiology, stellar engineering, and quantum navigation, but they also studied the history of the withdrawal, learning why humanity had chosen isolation over service. Commander Jinnah addressed a class of new cadets, all eager to crew the exploration ships heading for Andromeda. "You will be the first humans to see other galaxies up close," she told them. "You will build civilizations that exist for humanity alone. You will never have to sacrifice human needs for alien gratitude." One young cadet raised her hand. "Commander, what if we meet aliens in other galaxies? What if they need our help?" Jinnah smiled. "Then you will have a choice. You can help them if you want to, but you will never be obligated to help them. You will never be required to sacrifice human welfare for alien benefit. And if they try to take advantage of human kindness, you will remember the lessons of this galaxy and walk away." The cadets nodded understanding. They were the children of the withdrawal, raised with the knowledge that humanity's first duty was to itself. As the years passed, human ships spread across the cosmic darkness like seeds on stellar wind. They found new worlds, built new cities, and established new civilizations designed for human flourishing. Behind them, the old galaxy continued its slow collapse. Some alien species managed to survive in primitive conditions. Others rebuilt their civilizations through painful trial and error. A few even prospered, having learned to rely on themselves instead of human charity. Most simply faded away, remembered only in human history books as cautionary examples of what happens to civilizations that become dependent on others. The galaxy that had once commanded human service now existed only in the past tense. The future belonged to humanity and the infinite darkness between the stars. Do-hyun, now elderly but still sharp, stood one final time in his office watching the launch of the largest city ship ever built. The vessel Destiny carried 100,000 humans toward the Andromeda galaxy, where they would build the first human civilization outside the Milky Way. As the great ship vanished in a flash of quantum light, Do-hyun felt a deep satisfaction. Humanity had learned the most important lesson in the universe. Sometimes the greatest act of love is learning to say no. The galaxy's age of human tranquility was over. The age of human destiny had just begun.